And happy Pride Weekend. Joining us, State Senator Scott Wiener. It's been 50 years since the Stonewall riots. Where were you when the riots occurred?
I was not even in my mother's womb. I was born the next year. So.
Which is the reason I wanted to talk to you about this. As a gay man, you are what we would call one of the first generation of the post-civil rights movement. You grew up your entire life post-Stonewall. Coming out, all of that. What do you have any? What was it like? What is it like being in a society that's more accepting?
Well, you know, when I was growing up and teenager in the 80s, it was still enormous homophobia. There still is today, but even more then. And so I knew as a teenager what it was like to be scared, to be out and to be who you were. But I'm also fortunate that you know, things started to change really quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to the people at Stonewall, the people in the 50s, 60s, 70s who were fighting to create a world where I can be out and proud of who I am.
Not only out and proud, but we now have a presidential contender. Yeah. We have it's an interesting phenomenon. Yeah. Within one generation, we've gone from in the closet to Pete Buttigieg, who's being known, I can't figure out what she's known better for, being Mayor Pete,
right,
gay, or a reservist who served in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
All three together, he's polling well, and people seem to be just as accepting of him as anybody else.
Yeah, and even though for the record,
this isn't a symbolic candidacy.
No, it's not. And for the record, I'm supporting Kamala Harris, but I'm very proud that we have an openly gay candidate who is getting traction, and but it also, we've seen the homophobia and hatred directed at Mayor Pete, and so even today, there's still a lot of work to do because there's a lot of hatred directed at our community.
Well, there is a lot of advancement as well, and a lot of well, we had the incident in Dublin about questions about whether the flag should go up, but that wasn't so much about, that wasn't about gay rights, that was about whether we're going to let everybody put up a flag. So flags are going to be going up left and right.
And Dublin did the right thing in the end. So.
Okay, and all of Alameda County now is up on it. So gay marriage, huge victory. Gay rights, huge victories. Where does it go from here? Because Pride in California, for example, is an ongoing political organization and machine, and they tend to take on a life of their own. Yeah. So where is it next?
Yeah, we've had amazing victories in passing laws and civil rights protections, but we have huge challenges as a community. When you look at homeless youth, almost half are LGBT. We're disproportionately represented among homeless people. We have a lot of people in our community who struggle to access health care. LGBT seniors are at more at risk of isolation, of going into a nursing home and having to go back into the closet.
Do you think that's a legal or societal, or is that a familial thing? Is that because people are isolated from their families? Well, I mean,
right.
where is it?
Well, for seniors, LGBT seniors are less likely to have adult children to look out for them. They may have gone through the AIDS epidemic and lost the bulk of their social circle. And then we know that our long-term care facilities, some are great, but others aren't great in dealing with LGBT people. So there's still a lot of work to do.
What about the youth?
Yeah. Well, are
kids still being thrown out of their homes?
Yes, LGBT kids are still being thrown out of their homes or runaways, end up homeless, having to turn to sex work, and it's a big problem. There's still enormous bullying against our kids, and there are still too many schools that are not welcoming to LGBT kids. So the work is still huge.
And where do you see it going in the next years?
Well, in California, we are doing a lot of work to support our homeless youth and to try to help them, and also to make sure there's a bill to train every teacher in the state of California about how to interact and educate LGBT kids.
Is there a politician in the city that won't be at the Pride Parade?
I believe every elected official will be at Pride, which is a great thing.
Okay, and you'll be there too?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And
23 years I've been doing it.
23 years you've been doing it. What are the changes have you seen?
It is huge now, and we have some of the companies that come out with thousands of people, and on the positive side, it's more people engaging in our fight for civil rights. But sometimes it can water it down a little bit because it's not what it used to be in terms of the really
And you're
hardcore, edgy
accepting.
activism. I welcome everyone.
So if a Republican wanted to march in the parade and the Republican log cabin group wanted to go,
Everyone is welcome. I shouldn't say everyone. There are hate groups that shouldn't come, but our log cabin brothers and sisters, I disagree with them for being Republicans, but they are welcome in the parade.
There's the spirit. Okay, so let's take a look at the spirit outside. Scott Wiener, State Senator, San Francisco.